Yeah. This is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Sean.
Let's go.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
On the show today, well, we spoke to the Prime Minister.
Yeah, we did.
And then afterwards, we remembered all the things we should have said to him.
Oh, don't you hate that?
Well, they talk for so long, you can't actually cut in and
I
ask a few
know,
others. But anyway, we talked to the PM.
Also, the cherry on top of the cheating cake that you were served.
There's
Someone's cheated on you, and then they've chucked a little added bonus on top.
There was some real salt rubbed into gaping open wounds.
Yeah, there were. It was
shocking.
really great to listen to.
Matt Shirvington joins us. We talk about the Winter Olympics.
And how someone else's eating affects you in a negative way.
This is Nathan, Nat and Sean.
Last night of Mass, we saw another wedding.
Stars at night are big and bright tonight.
Where?
Deep in the heart of Texas.
That's where.
Oh, what about the start of this? Name
So
the
this is
people
the
first,
Texas
mate.
guy.
It's the Texan groom, Andrew Davis, and he married Holly.
So when he walks in down the altar, the bride's mum slags off, I hope you're not from Texas.
I know.
What, just randomly?
Yes.
Yeah. Because he goes,
Because
I'm
the
from
accent.
America.
Oh, okay.
He goes, I'm from
Oh, she
America.
said,
And
oh.
then she goes, yeah, you better not be from Texas. And he goes, I think he's going to be a Trump gun-toting against abortion.
I mean, yeah,
sort of
classically,
guy.
that's your classic stereotypical Texan.
Yeah.
There are nice Texans.
Oh,
Yeah, of
there are
course.
some lovely Texans. And even some Texans that like Trump are really nice too.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Haven't met one.
Even some Texans with guns and
they
nice.
are. Well, that's every Texan.
She's like
Anyway,
a big pickup,
we
I'll
are
tell you that.
pro-Texans here at Nova. So he has told a story about why he broke up with his ex, right? So I'm going to read it out. We were 4 months out from our wedding and she went on a hen's party. They had a male escort, like a stripper, and my ex-fiancée actually cheated on me with a male escort, and then she ended up marrying the guy on our wedding day. She didn't even change the wedding venue or the day. She
paid a deposit,
She
Nathan.
used our deposit, and then she changed the last name from mine to his.
They hooked up pretty quick. Like, they got married in 4 months, for starters.
God.
And, I mean...
That's a big time burn because she's got rid of
She
you
left
for
you for the stripper.
And then, like, kept the wedding and just married him on that day.
Yeah.
Like, you were just, like, interchangeable.
Interchanged, yeah. Took one groom off and substituted another one.
So there's two things there, really, isn't it? Sometimes, and I think that anybody that has been cheated on, that is a punch in the gut.
Yes, it is.
Right? But then sometimes the
Yes.
person that's cheated on you puts a nice little cherry on top
Yeah.
of the cake.
Like, takes your TV or something. I don't know.
Exactly, the only one.
And gives it to his new girlfriend.
Or changes the Netflix password. And you're like, what? Mel's in Golden Bay. Hello.
Oh, hi. How you going,
Oh,
guys?
Mel.
Okay, what happened?
It's a bit of a classic, really. I had a partner when I lived in the regional area. Needless to say, we're not together now.
Yeah.
And he borrowed the money off me to go back to visit home, which was New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when he came back, he was acting very weird, and didn't take me long with a lot of detective work to find out that he had rekindled a relationship with somebody that he'd been with in his team.
Yes.
And so anyway, I left and went to Perth to, give a bit of space and said, pack up your things and all that kind of thing. Well, he said he was packing up his things as well. So I've written this big heartfelt letter, like there's the spots of the water that's fallen from the tears onto the
Onto the letter. Yeah.
and then it's not the classic part. So that's one part that I'll admit. So anyway, I come back from Perth, and I walk in, and this is my house that I rent through my job and all the rest of it. And there's the letter on the coffee table, and you can see the tear marks, and it's all very dramatic. So then, for a man that never cooks, I've walked in, and I've never seen anything like the kitchen that he left me. So not only did he cook himself a massive feast, he left all the dishes, the noodles, the veggies, everything you could imagine in the sink, and I won't tell you what I thought.
Mel.
I mean,
So he's come home.
and he has the hide to a man that never cooks to leave that many dishes. That really hurts.
Meal, left all the food and the dishes in the sink.
And the tear-stained letter.
Tear-stained letter.
It was 15 years ago, and I still remember the noodles hanging off the sink, and so I was like, what the hell?
Oh, that is
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
you.
What a shocker.
And
Thank
you know
you.
what? And I do really think it's really important if you are leaving an emotional letter to somebody that has wronged you, just to
Yes.
let some of the tears fall on it.
Yeah, that's right. It's spectacular.
Don't you think?
That's why you
Take
write them
the
in a
time.
fountain pen because
Exactly,
the ink
so the ink
spreads.
goes-
Yeah.
Ready to hit the road this summer? It's time to What If It. Visit whatif.com to plan and book your accommodation, flights, activities, even car hire.
Plus, select hotels are fully refundable. Booking cancellation windows apply.
What if it's Aussie for travel? Check government advisories before booking and travelling.
Ellie, you're
Yes.
saying that you've never been cheated on.
That I know of. So either they're really good and got away with
Yeah.
it, or I never have.
When you made that statement, were you kind of like, "That's how good I am"? Was that what you think?
No, I'm thinking
I'm
how
thinking-
dumb.
No one would ever
Maybe
cheat
I'm
on me.
super
Look at me.
dumb.
I'm
Look at
thinking
me.
she's such a handful that got no time.
I do have several personalities to keep them busy.
Yeah, so it feels like they're cheating.
You're getting Ellie and her friends.
We are talking about when you've been cheated on, that's bad enough. But then there's a little kicker, some sort of
Yeah.
thing at the end where it's the ultimate salt in the wound.
Yeah.
Right.
Hello, Alice.
Hello.
Hi, Alice.
Alice, is this recently you found out something?
So last week I was on Facebook doing a little bit Facebook stalking, and in a photo of my beautiful ex with a beautiful lady.
Yeah.
So I messaged him and said, I'm just gonna message this girl and see if she's your mistress. So I messaged her and she quickly answered, and he was like, "No, you're crazy. What, you're messaging some random girl on Facebook, blah, blah, blah." Anyway, so I found out it's all being true. He's been living a double life for a year now.
No.
Alice, why are you laughing?
Because you
But
have to,
it's so
Sean.
funny.
It's so funny. Because you have to, don't you, sometimes, Alice? You have to laugh.
Oh, definitely. But he just thought he was a player and he got played. So yeah, so me and this girl made friends and basically just give it to him. But
So both of you have nothing to do with him now,
So-
and he's lost out.
no, he definitely has lost out. Yeah, so he got a tattoo a while ago
Yeah.
on his arm, and it was the rose is the typical try hard tattoo that you get.
Oh, sorry, you
And-
cut out, your phone cut out. What was the tattoo? What was
Something
the tattoo?
rose.
He's got roses on his
Okay.
like
Yep. Got
Yeah.
you. Got you.
on his
Yep.
on his wrist / arm.
Yeah.
And he had initials in this tattoo, and I never realised what the initials were. When I asked him whose initials they were, he said that they were the tattoo artist's daughter, when in fact it was his. And in fact, it was his mistress's tattoo, like his mistress's initials.
Oh, wait there.
He's brazen enough to get another girl's initials tattooed on him while he's with you.
And also, like,
And then
selling the story that the tattoos, oh, yeah, I'll get your daughters.
No, I
And
mean,
then
that's
she'll
just,
put on me.
that's just creepy.
Okay, Alice. So so to you, this other chick is the mistress, right? Because you were in a relationship. To her,
Yeah.
were you the mistress?
No, she didn't know anything about me, and I didn't know anything about her till I went digging.
Yes.
Yes, my
she
point being, did the other girl, the
Think
mistress,
she was in a long-term committed relationship.
Did she think that she was? Yeah.
No, because they were never serious. They were never serious.
Yeah, right.
Serious. Like,
So
he
they
was
were never
still living a
serious.
best life.
So they were never serious.
But he's
But
got
you're
her
in a
ta-
relationship with him, and then he got her initials in front of
Tattooed.
you. Oh my god!
And ended up with nothing anyway. And
Alice.
apparently it's
I know.
hilarious.
Oh, well, you
I
know
think
what?
she's still coming to grips with it,
It
Sean.
is.
Don't judge her
You
reaction.
Leave her alone. Let her,
Oh,
let her
righto,
have let her have what she needs to
Loving
have.
it.
Thank
Loving
you,
it.
Alice.
I'll laugh with you, Alice, and when you're ready to cry, I'll cry with you too.
That's right. We're here for you.
When you get ready to get angry, I'm coming over and we'll stalk him.
I think Alice might have that covered already. Harley's in Midland. Hello.
Hey guys, how you going?
Hey,
Harley, what happened?
So my kid's mum, doing the deed, I found out with my mate,
Yeah.
and then so I've moved out of the house, let her stay in it and that, and then when I've come to finally get it back, I had an $850 water bill in my name, she hasn't been paying.
Oh, yeah,
That's
that's
a
a low
kicker.
blow, Harley.
No.
There's more than one, but
And Harley, I bet you the clincher is if you were to look over your home video footage, it would have been all from him washing his car at your house.
there was probably more than one, mate.
Oh, Harley. Thanks, mate.
The $800 water bill.
I know.
The Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Well, aren't we a full bottle on the Winter Games as it
Already?
stands? You can watch it on Channel 7, the opening ceremony tomorrow night. Matt Shirvington, well, he's competed in the Summer Games, in fact, but he's covering the Winter Games. G'day, Matt.
G'day, guys. Yeah, well, let's get ahead of the game and put 5 rings on it right now because we're about to take off the Olympic Games. You actually caught me out, I've got to be honest with you. I was sitting in my empty bath pretending I was in a bobsled.
Yeah, well, how come, as a sprinter?
At 150 k's an hour.
Yeah, as a
mate.
sprinter, how come you were never tempted to give it a crack?
I actually got asked a couple of times, and it was just after I retired. And I remember going to the first training session. I thought, you guys train way too hard. I probably should have just stuck with track and field. And I walked away and said, look, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the idea of sitting behind someone that's in control of your life while you're sitting back there looking like you're reading a book just doesn't really interest me.
150 clicks, you're not wrong.
I did really enjoy. I read an article about I think it's 2 Jamaican bobsledding teams going this year, and
the 2 and the 4, is it?
Yeah, and one of the guys was training by pushing his mate around in his car. So they just go to a car park. His mate's got a Mini Cooper or something. He's just pushing his mate around in the car.
They're feeling very Olympic today. Don't worry about that. Great little story today. We've got a luge athlete, Alex Velazzo, who's from Townsville, and kind of a similar story. His mum was at the gym apparently and spoke to this lady who was recruiting for the luge program and thought an 18-year-old Alex wouldn't be too bad. So he built a luge with wheels on it and got it up to about 60 k's an hour in practice, and then realised when he made his debut on ice, they actually go about 120, 130 k's, and it blew his mind. So he's getting underway for Australia today, actually, in the luge. So it's his 3rd Olympic Games. He's a champ.
You have to admire the optimism of a luge recruiter starting in Queensland, don't you?
Well, how about your mum throwing you in the deep end? Yeah, I reckon Alex is good.
Sign him up for that.
Like get him out of the house and send him down a tube of ice.
Hey, Shirvo, we haven't had a couple of gold medalists for a couple of Olympic Games, Australia. So hopefully we can get up there this year.
Yeah, super close in Pyeongchang, of course. We got 2 silver medals with Matt Graham in the moguls and Jared Hughes in the snowboard cross. Matt Graham, he is like, if you want to talk about fittest athletes on earth, he is one of them. But unfortunately, about a month ago, he actually had a training mishap and broke his collarbone. He's got a couple of plates and pins in there at the moment, but he's over there and he's going to give it a real shake. Apparently, I'm hearing that he's looking very good on the snow. He's a real chance to pick up a medal, and the moguls actually get underway today as well. We're kind of just ahead of the opening ceremony, which is tomorrow, but some of these events get underway early. Jakara Anthony, too, in the women's moguls. She's been setting the world on fire. She's 3rd in the world at the moment. She came 4th in Pyeongchang, so she's going to be a real chance as well.
Scotty James,
above our weight, especially in the freestyle.
I love the word.
Don't
you love Pyeongchang?
Yeah.
It's just a great word.
Matt, the thrills and spills and just the fast and furious nature of the curling.
It's captured the country.
Has taken Australia by storm. What did you think?
Well, it doesn't quite have the adrenaline of the men's downhill, but in saying that, I was enthralled last night. I don't know.
It's compelling, isn't it?
But it really is. Like, it's edge-of-the-seat stuff, and it does move slowly compared to some of the events.
I don't think it's edge of the seat. I think it's sit back in your seat and watch.
Yeah, maybe. A little bit loungy. It's sit on the edge of your recliner.
Yeah,
that's probably gets you.
They call it bowls and chess combined on ice. And I thought everyone's done a bit of barefoot bowls, so you know how hard that is. It seems to get easier the more beers you have. But anyway, I thought they did really well. Tyler Gill, Dean Hewitt last night. They were on debut for Australia, making history. They've got a few more games coming up in the next few days, and I think they'll keep going. They've got China next, so that's going to be
they do. You've got to take care of the rock there, Richo.
That's right.
Sorry.
It is the sport where you go as a
could do it.
spectator that you think you could have the best chance of doing it.
Yeah, it's just sweeping. Let's be honest, it's just sweeping.
I was thinking the other day, we need to come up with a name for the team. You know how the swimmers have a good name in the Dolphins, and we've got our footy teams, the Matildas and whatever. Yeah. We need to come up with a good name for the curlers. So I don't know if you want to put it to your listeners. What did you call it?
The Bundies.
That's an Aussie thing.
Wouldn't it just be the janitors?
Apparently, the actual thing that they throw down there, the 19 kilos of granite, is called the rock. So I'm thinking the rock wallabies, maybe.
Rock wallabies? Okay.
Yeah, right.
We won't go with the rock machine because they'll be outlawed from
I
everywhere.
mean, the quackers could work.
Yeah, let's steer away from the bikie gang.
Quackers always got a smile on their face.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. Now, Shervo, do you hold any resentment that you're actually not over there in Beijing first hands? Because we've seen Richo. We spoke to Richo. He's front and square. You know, he's hardly working. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's Richo. Richo has the best job ever and just throws all of his enthusiasm into it. And it sounds like no matter what he does is exciting. I'm bummed, actually. I wish I was over there. I really, really do. I think Beijing is going to put on a really good show. I had a sneak peek of the opening ceremony last night, and that goes off obviously tomorrow, and it looks really cool. They are throwing everything at it. Not a heap of snow, but super cold over there. I think it was about minus 17.
That's got a problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Not a heap of snow.
Hey, Shervo, we know that Richo, because he tells us all the time, won the store gift.
Yes.
Did you ever win
Yes,
that?
he tells me to. No, I didn't.
Okay, we got to go. Thank you, Matt.
No, to be fair, Shervo would have been off too big a handicap, and he would have been able to sneak under the radar.
In the red bib and never got a chance. Whereas Richo, I think he played the game well in the pro races.
Yeah,
He did a very good job of hiding his form and then rocking up and blowing everyone away. But yeah, he reminds me a lot too. Don't worry about that.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good.
Well, thanks very much, Shervo. I really appreciate your time. Of course, we'll be watching all the action on 7. Looking forward to some great performances from our Australians.
Cannot wait, guys. Do you know what? Time to stay cool, don't you reckon?
That's true.
Stay cool. Thanks, guys.
Nice.
That was the guy that did not win the store
Store
gift.
gift.
Matt Shirvington.
Nathan, Nat, and Sean.
A love story that we never thought was going to be real or last has blossomed throughout the years, and we put them on a pedestal for how we all should be. Isn't that right, Sean? When I'm talking about David Beckham and Victoria Beckham, aka Posh Spice.
Amazing. She looks as stiff as cardboard. He's a handsome cat. I'd love to hang out with Bex.
But does sound like a dolphin.
Yeah, he does sound like a bit of a dolphin.
Pepsi.
Well, he's been talking about how great it is to be married to her, but there's one major downer with being married to Victoria Beckham, and that's her eating habits. This is
You're never going to hear that sound.
For the last 25 years, Victoria...
Think about that. 25 years.
25 years.
Yes, 25 years.
Victoria has been eating the same thing. Now, he says on a podcast, unfortunately, I'm married to someone that has eaten the same thing for the last 25 years. Since I met her, she only eats grilled fish, steamed vegetables, and she'll rarely deviate from that. The only time she's probably ever shared something that's been on my plate was actually when she was pregnant with Harper, and it was the most amazing thing. It was one of my favourite evenings. I can't remember what it was.
Because she reached over and took a chip.
That she hasn't eaten it since. He said that he's actually secretly very excited when she's not home because he'll run out to the barbecue, which he never gets to use, and he'll put a giant T-bone steak or a porterhouse steak or whatever on there, and he'll come back inside
like a carnivore.
He'll just eat and love it because this guy is trapped in grilled fish and steamed vegetable hell.
Just think about all the meals you have over your journey. We talk about food all the time.
Night.
That you're having that one thing, how boring your life is.
Nathan is most likely to be this person
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you get
stick at
onto
it.
a roll and
I
have
do.
the same thing repeatedly
Yeah,
once
I
you
do.
find something that you like.
Yep,
And you can do that for months. But
Yeah.
could you imagine doing it for 25 years?
No, I cannot. Yeah, because I do something to death, then I get sick of it, and then I change it out. But like, I also cannot fathom, because I've been single for so long, I'm having to take someone else's needs into consideration.
It's true.
Because for me, I mean personally, like tonight, I'll be eating a chicken out of a bag, crying over the sink. And
This is the worst ad for Uber Eats I've ever heard.
And I couldn't imagine
I'll
having to
be
make
eating
room on the other side of the sink
misery
for
and
somebody
sorrow.
else. You know what I mean?
That's a really good point.
He's never used his dishwasher, so who's the winner here? My best friend Justine, she and her husband have been married for, 10, 12 years. And before that, they've been together for 8 or 10 years before that. So they've been together a long time. He's pescatarian, but her favourite food in the world is lamb.
Yep.
So she can't cook a roast because he doesn't eat it. So
she never gets to have it.
So whenever they go out, she will always order the lamb. Always.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Because
amazing?
she doesn't have it at home.
They talk about
Yeah.
how
Yep.
you don't know what life is until you love, and there's no reason to be on this planet until you're with somebody.
But she loves
like,
lamb.
But like, if you get into it,
Did anyone ask me?
that's why I said they, not you.
Yeah.
Sean,
Imagine making that sort of concession for your partner, Sean.
you have somebody in your life that doesn't like eating a certain coloured vegetable.
Oh, my mate Maury, he doesn't anything green and orange. He doesn't do green or
He doesn't
orange.
eat anything green or orange.
He has scurvy.
He hasn't missed a meal in recent times, but
You put a witch's hat in
green
front of
and
him,
orange.
will
No.
not eat it.
It's true.
You're listening to Nathan, Nat and Sean.
We are talking about whether someone else's eating habits are impacting you negatively. Inspired by Victoria Beckham, who has eaten grilled fish and steamed vegetables for every meal for 25 years.
Yeah.
And
David Beckham's enraged.
he just has to put up with it.
Yeah, he's angry. Belinda's in Queen's Park. Hello, Belinda.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, Belle.
Okay, Belle. Okay, whose eating habits are impacting you?
All right, I've got two very close friends, of which one is strictly vegan
Yes.
and the other is strictly keto.
So they're polar opposites, aren't
Wow.
they? So one's eating a lot
I
of
know.
meat and one's
It's
not.
Yeah, that's right. One's full meat and fat. The other one's just zero.
So you
fat.
are literally best friends with meat and veg.
Absolutely. I love it.
Belinda, do you go out together, the three of you?
We do, but that has decreased quite a bit over the last couple of years. So it's just really difficult to find somewhere that can cater to both diets.
Yeah.
And because so many places these days are share dishes as
Yeah.
well. So
But what a
that's not
wonderful
gonna work.
thing when you're cooking to have them over, because you just make yourself a normal meal of meat and veg.
And then just split
and
it.
you just separate it for them.
So it only needs to make 2 meals. For 3 people.
And then she gets them both.
Thanks, Belinda. Marie's in Southern River. Hello.
Morning, guys.
Hello,
Marie.
Marie. Whose eating habits are impacting you, Marie?
Okay, so I've got 5 children. My number 4th one is the one that is the problem. For about 9 years, he pretty much eats everything plain. When I say plain, it is very plain colour, plain everything. So he goes to school with toast for lunch, and his toast is like white. It's not even got. You can't have colour on it because if it's colour, he won't eat it.
No, that is not.
just
That is hotel barley toast.
Yeah.
Or when you ever in a hotel, they've got that automatic
The
toaster
conveyor
thing
belt.
so low it comes out just like someone's put a heat dryer on it.
Yeah. And they
That's
give you rocks
correct.
for butter.
That's what he likes.
Yeah, that's what he likes.
Do you
He
know
does that
what?
every day for however many years.
Can
he's
I
been
just
at
say right
school.
now, your son is a psychopath. I think that is psychopathic.
Is that-
Well, if you think that's psychopath, for like the last since he was 3 years old, we've been going to McDonald's every night.
Yeah.
And we buy a McChicken burger with no lettuce, no mayo every night.
That's
so
what
it's
he
a chicken
eats.
patty and the
That's
bun.
all he eats.
Can I say
Yep.
my preferred thing to eat from McDonald's is a McChicken burger, right? But I
kids
can
love
guarantee, and I'm saying this with my whole heart, I'm not dissing it. A McChicken patty has no moisture in it. So he's taken out the mayonnaise,
It has
which
no
creates
chicken in it.
any moisture in it. He's just
Marie. So he won't eat any vegetables?
Nothing. So I have to
Does
give
he
him
have
vitamins.
scurvy?
And,
Okay.
Yeah,
and
okay.
we've had to give him vitamins. But anyway, over the time, we found out he's got no growth hormone, right? And so we've said to him, you need to start eating properly. So we see a dietitian, we see a psychologist, we see a social worker. None of them can drum into him at all. None. He's just like, nope, not having that. Nope, not doing that, not eating that. No. He'd rather starve and go to bed than me, like, Mum, go to McDonald's and get my burger. So it's got to the point where all my other kids are like, Mum, how come he gets Maccas and we don't?
Yeah, of
I
course,
said, you know
Marie.
what?
because if he doesn't,
If
he'll
we-
die. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Oh, Marie.
That's exactly right. So all my kids complain, going,
Yeah.
Mum, we want some.
Hey,
course
Marie,
they do.
do
Everyone
the
wants a
people
Sunday.
what Maccas are you? What?
We go to Southern River. It's a new one.
Yep.
But before we were going to the Armidale one, and they knew us off by heart. McDonald's, McChicken
Like
burger, no lettuce, no mayo.
Well, these people will not take long
So
to
do
get
you
to
go
know
and
whether-
buy it and then bring it home and serve it up on a plate to him, or do you take him with you and he just eats it in the car?
No, I take him with me. Sometimes he does stay home, but I have even tried to make it myself and put it in the box,
No.
thinking I could
No one's gonna fall fall for that.
No, he does not fall for it at all.
No.
That's tough for a family meal.
I know.
Jeez, Marie.
Good luck, Marie. Got a few years left of that.
That's actually full
amazing.
on for her.
I know. June's in Armidale. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh,
Great,
good,
June. Now, whose eating habits are impacting you, June?
God, my partner.
Mm.
He does eat nothing that looks like a tree. So asparagus,
Broccoli.
broccoli,
Cauliflower.
mushrooms, all that good stuff. Nothing.
Anything off a
nothing.
leaf? So salad? Does he can't like?
Yeah, like spinach
leaves?
leaves and
Lettuce.
rocket and all that sort of stuff? No.
No, that's all tree stuff.
He says tree stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not
what
any
I do is
plant-based proteins then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very sneaky in the mornings. I give him a lovely shake and I put green powders in it.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
He will destroy you if he finds that. So, okay, so we know what he doesn't eat. What's going on his plate then? What makes it on the plate?
Yeah, what did you have for dinner last
Lots
night?
of steak,
Yeah.
potato,
Yeah.
corn. He'll eat corn.
Okay.
And peas. He'll eat peas.
He'll eat peas.
And
So-
carrot, I
Yeah.
suppose, yeah?
Oh, yeah, likes carrot. Peas,
Yeah.
corn, carrot.
Oh.
That's it.
mashed
Okay.
buds.
No green
meat.
colour in there.
Yeah.
Nothing
No,
that looks
no, not
like
really.
or resembles a tree.
Tree.
Nothing that has
No.
leaves or has any stem-based situation.
Interesting. We did discover that corn has a bit of heaps of vitamins. In it.
Yes,
We
yeah, we
research
did.
on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
On a-
So he's getting
side note.
some nutritional intake from that.
Well,
That's
there
good.
you go, everyone. You know what? Me tonight by myself crying, eating hot chicken out of a bag over the sink doesn't look too bad.
Yeah,
Does
it doesn't,
Certainly
does
doesn't,
it?
Nathan.
Nathan, Nat and Sean in podcast form.
No, it's just in a nice way.
Oh, in a nice way. Yesterday, I pulled up in the driveway and I noticed my next door neighbour Pete. He was doing a lot of work in his front
Yes.
yard, and he lends me stuff. He helps me out with everything, and this goes against me for the most part. But I walked over and said, "Hey, Pete, would you like a hand?"
Anything
with
not to go home, eh?
100% now. Because I put the roller door up, the old dog, he comes over,
Yeah.
Rex comes
Big
over and
Rexy.
sits around the garden, and Pete gives him a pat. Good on you, Rex. Good to see you, buddy. And then Rex decides to go to the toilet like a horse would do in the middle of Pete's freshly mowed lawn. And his garden is just absolutely... So he weed on a few of the things first,
Yes.
as they do. And then he just did a big horse
Yeah.
patty
Yeah.
on his lawn.
And now Sean was saying, most of the time you can just pick these things up, but this was a
like ice cream.
hose down
Situation.
a half melted Napoleon.
And then I needed a bidet to get right up his placard.
Yeah. So I just said to Sean, in those scenarios, I mean, like, you have to clean it up, but don't you just really wish that you could just take your hat off and put it on there and then just walk away?
This is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Sean.
To start things off, in the NBA, Ben Simmons has been named as Australia's highest paid athlete, right? So last year, or this year's contract's worth $46 million.
Is that, have they deducted all the fines?
That doesn't include the fact that he's lost $26 million in fines as it stands
Wow.
today, because he won't
$26
play. He
million
won't turn up
in
to
fines.
practice. He won't do anything
He
for
wants
the
to be
Philadelphia
traded.
76ers.
And it just brings me to what I've always said about Ben Simmons, and that is, where is that hungry kid that used to go, oh my God, this is what I want to
Yeah.
do for a living, and this is what I want to be, and blah, 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 and oh my God, how amazing would it be to make that sort of money to help my family, to the point where he's pissing that amount of money down the
$26
Yeah,
million.
down the toilet without even thinking, and refusing to play with his team. And
It was essentially a long form tantrum.
It is, and what he said, and his people are saying that he won't go back and play under Doc Rivers and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is the best player, right?
Yes.
He's the big unit, and Doc Rivers is the coach, because he believes that they threw him under the bus at the end of the final series. They should have made the the NBA granny. But he was rubbish in the last few finals games. He was rubbish.
And
And
to the point where his
the way-
teammates were calling him out.
I know, but that is a bit weird in a team sport. Is it, don't you think? Can you imagine a team sport here where the whole
not
team
in
gets
Australia.
together and goes, yeah, no, he was rubbish. It was his fault that we lost. Like,
Yes.
that doesn't happen in team sport. So it's really
I
weird.
don't know if it happens in Australian team
Yeah.
sport
Yeah.
versus being over internationally now, because I think they do point people
Do
out.
they?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
I
but
think
not
they
to
do,
this
because they're
extreme
big.
to me.
He must
they're
be
in their
a
own world a
giant
lot.
a-hole.
Yeah, well, yeah, it suggests
Don't
that
know.
he's not very
I
likeable.
don't know.
yeah.
What we do know that is that he's happy to, as you said, Nath, piss that money up against the wall and not play the sport
Imagine what
that
you
he
could do with
apparently is desperate to be a
$26
part
million.
of. The thing with this as well, though, okay, so from a franchise point of view, he's waiting for this deadline. I think it's to February 10,
Okay.
where you can be traded by.
Yeah.
But if
So
you're
he's
an
got a week.
opposition club, are you going to
take that on?
You could take him on. Let's say you take him on because you think you can. He can be a great player for your team.
Yes.
You're not going to trade something valuable
No.
So Philadelphia are saying we need something decent because
Yes.
this guy can play.
Yeah.
If he wants
I
to.
think it's
This
a
guy can
stalemate.
play if he wants to.
But surely they're going to get to the point, and this is what he's hoping, where they're just happy to offload him because he's more of a problem.
Yes.
That's
But again,
what
you're going
he's
to give
doing.
away someone for free if they've got genuine talent, which he has done. It's just,
But
it's
then,
a really
as a,
tough
then as a
position
club
from the
that's
club.
thinking, okay, this might be a great thing to get over to us, I'd be thinking, well, wait, what if we upset him?
Yeah.
Then we're going to have this problem. Like, it doesn't look good on your resume, and I know it's a risk.
I reckon he's.
come on.
I reckon he would turn up to the next team and go so hard
Yes.
and be a.
It'd certainly be good
He'd be a
whenever
good
they
player.
play
He'd
the
be a
Phillies.
really good player for
Yeah,
you.
but
the
until
76ers.
something upsets him.
Imagine
Yeah,
what-
well, he's
And
got
then
precedence.
The precedent is what he's
Yeah.
doing right now. It's a risk.
Very,
what
very
about have the
interesting.
Wildcats made an offer?
Well, we'll see if he'll come back and play for the Wildcats. 6'10", running the point, very interesting size.
I doubt Matt Hodgson's going to be playing in the next game, so he could take his spot.
Oh no doubt about it. And the last thing I saw last night that Kostazoo was a Russian turned Australian that everyone
Yes,
jumped on
great
board.
Aussie.
As Aussie as Vegemite, you know. Costa won the world titles and all that in boxing. And his son Tim Zoo's become a star
Yeah.
and will fight for a world championship and probably be really good. The next son down, Nikita's decided to turn pro after doing a 4 or 5 year exile because he became an architect.
Oh.
There you go. How's that for a bit of difference? And he's ready to have a fight in Queensland. I think it's coming up very shortly. And but you know, he kind of honed his skills, as you can imagine, in their household in the backyard.
Just hanging with Dad.
Instead of going out and playing Xbox, we'd put on a pair of gloves and just punch on. I'd always walk into the house bleeding because I've got an older brother that just wouldn't hold back.
Yeah, older brothers.
Older brothers are the worst.
Yeah, you didn't have Xbox in your day, nor did I.
No. It was
You're
just
dodging
just weapons in the backyard.
Yeah.
It's just me, just like dodging ninja stars and stuff. So okay, so it's Costa Zoo, Tim Zoo,
Nikita.
and is there dog a Shih Tzu? It would have to be, wouldn't it?
I would hope so. Well, good luck to Nikita. His brother reckons he's got power bigger than his dad's actually, but we'll see how that all turns out in the future.
Nobody quite so driven as the younger brother that's been beaten up his whole life.
Nathan, Nat and Sean podcast.
Wow.
Be upstanding, please. We have the Prime Minister of the country in the house, Scott Morrison. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Hello.
Prime Minister.
Talk to you in the West.
Hello, Scoo.
We're very well at the moment. We have learned a few things over the last couple of days, and that is people like to keep text messages in Canberra, as it turns out, and your wife does all the shopping.
Well, no, I suppose practically neither of those are particularly true here at where I am today over here in Sydney. But look, what really matters is what's going on in other people's kitchens and what's going on in other people's living rooms and their workplaces. And what I'm pleased about is we're getting people into jobs. I mean, unemployment, we're looking at getting down to below 4%, having a 3 in front of it. We haven't seen that in 50 years. We've got 220,000 trade apprentices in training. We haven't seen that since records began in 1963. So the economy is heading in the right direction, and the West's economy is heading in the right direction, and that's what we need to keep doing and working together to achieve that as we push through this pandemic.
Hey, Scott, so I just want to go back to those texts and just, when he was reading out those texts about you being a psycho and a horrible person, would you have preferred for him to have handed the phone to you so you could have read them out like Jimmy Kimmel's mean tweets? So at least you could have put a fun voice on.
I could pull up my Facebook page now. We could run through it. It goes with the gig.
Yeah.
But look, anonymous things read out at the press club by people probably trying to distract attention from themselves is really, that sometimes happens down in Canberra, but it doesn't make any difference to what's going on with people in their lives, and that's where I'm focused. So when those things happen, they happen, and so long as they apply the same blowtorch to my opponent, and so that's really the test for them. I mean, that's fair. I mean, I step up to it every day. I mean, that's another day in the office for me. It comes with the territory. You cop the flack and the criticism. People will say what they'll say, but anonymous sledging, I don't pay much attention to.
Sorry, and on that, from the milk and the bread prices, are you now carrying around a Woolworths catalogue with you at all times?
Well, it'd have to be pretty thick. Because, I mean, how many different types of milk do you have in your fridge? If you've got kids, you've got all different types, and then, some even drink milk, don't even have dairy in it, milking almonds. Almonds.
I want to see that process.
I'm guessing you don't have a future as a contestant on The Price is Right, though. Would that be fair?
No, but I do know Larry, a good mate of mine. When Larry went to school together over here in Sydney, he's a good guy.
Okay, one question I had about the bread thing, and that is, I'm wondering if you're cutting down on the carbs. Is that one of the reasons why you probably didn't have the price?
Well, seriously, it's really important when you're doing the sort of job that I do, and anyone in a stressful job, you've got to sort of look after yourself, because that helps you make good decisions, and that's been tough, I think, for a lot of people during the pandemic. I mean, I try and do it by swimming as much as I can and doing those sorts of things, and that's why I cook as well. It sort of gives you a bit of your brain a time to reset and refresh. That's really important, and a lot of big decisions we've had to make in this pandemic, just like Mark McGowan has had to there, and we work closely together. Yeah. We're actually working very closely together at the moment on the what's occurred with the washout of the rail line, and with everything coming across from South Australia. And I appreciate working together with him and our governments. Barnaby Joyce has been doing a terrific job on that as well. We're getting through that. It's you just a lot of problem solving and just people focusing on the issue. And there's no politics there. We're both doing our job. And for Mark and I, that's pretty much how the pandemic has been. I mean, we've had the odd disagreement now and then, but to be honest, we've just kept working the problem, and we're looking forward to Western Australia getting to a point where, it does open up, but it's got to be done safely, and I agree with Mark on that, and the hospital system's got to be ready, and I know he's focused on that. And we've learned a lot of lessons over here on the east about how Omicron works, and I'm sure at every National Cabinet meeting he's been paying close attention to that, to ensure Western Australia can avoid some of the impacts that we've had over here. And
so, are you saying you're backing the decisions that he's made? Are you saying you back the decisions that he's made with changing the date, cancelling the Feb 5 opening?
Oh, I understand that. I mean, because Omicron is a it's been a beast. It changed everything. It was like a completely different virus. And one of the key lessons we've had over here on the East Coast is the rules that you had for managing Delta, completely different. So one of the things that sort of crushed us here early in December and, affected things like supply chains and food on shelves and things like that were the rules around close contacts and all. And so we had to change a lot of that very quickly, because if you don't, and you're shutting down schools and you're shutting down warehouse distribution centres and truck drivers and mines, and your economy and your society just grinds to a halt. And so Omicron's different to Delta, and so I'm sure Mark has been watching that closely, and it means that if the rules are too tight and too prescriptive, they can actually become the problem, and they can become worse than the virus itself.
I've got a question for you, staying with the virus, and the opposition have obviously said that you've been way too slow in acting on all these things. We're talking about rapid antigen tests. Nathan, who I work with here, he's been saying, what about the price of them, Nathan's one thing that you've been talking about lately.
They should be about $5.
Could have you done the whole thing a lot better and faster? That's what the opposition is saying.
Well, armchair critics, they're a bit like the Monday morning coach after the game on the weekend. They've always got plenty of thoughts after the fact, but you'd never want him actually running the team, would you? And that's how pretty much I see that. They're always wise in hindsight. But when you're Prime Minister or Premier, you make the decisions in real time on the best information you have. Now, I remind everyone that rapid antigen tests were still illegal in Western Australia.
But also at that stage, when they were illegal, we didn't have a need for them because there were no cases.
But that is the point. That is exactly the point. In the eastern states, the need was not there either until Omicron hit. The rules in the East Coast states by premiers there and by our own Commonwealth health advisors was that PCR tests were the gold standard and should be used for testing, and all of them were free. Rapid antigen tests are not as reliable as PCR tests, and cheers to the South Australian government because they've kept doing the PCR tests. They've been able to manage it that way, but with the rapid escalation of cases that occurred over December, January, I mean, we've only had this virus for the last 2 months with Omicron. That's what I mean by it completely changed. It was not the health advice to use rapid antigen testing, and they only got approved in early November. We got all the premiers together a few days later, and we agreed that the Commonwealth would go and get them if we needed them for aged care facilities, which we did. And we've already had 8 million out into those, and there was 2 million going into them in December. And the states and territories would be the ones who would go and get the ones for public use at their testing centres. Now, that's what we agreed in November, and we paid 50-50 of all of the costs. And so tests that are going out to schools here where I am today in New South Wales, they're being done by the state government. They've been procured by the state government, but we're paying for half the cost. So things are always a lot more complicated than they appear at first analysis. But, you know, Labor Party and oppositions are going to try and exploit that. There's an election on this year, so rather than working with us,
by the way?
they get up every day and work
When are you going
against
to call it?
Well, it's due in the middle of May.
Okay.
Yeah. But are you going to set when are you going to set the date?
Well, we'll set it out from about 5 weeks out from when the election's called for. That's the normal process.
All right, so May 14th.
But we've got a budget at the end of March.
Yeah. Hey,
and that's our keen focus right now.
Yeah. Now, Scott, personally, it was really interesting. So when we posted on our socials yesterday that you were going to be coming on, my phone personally melted down. I got so many DMs and stuff like that. Now, it's weird because when we say we've got Mark McGowan on, we had him on earlier this week. The messages and the calls I received, they're basically about 50-50s in support of him right now. They're 50, because of the some people are upset about the mandate, some people are upset about the border closure, but a lot of people are pretty
Very
much
supportive. Yeah,
very
that's right.
supportive as well. 100%, I lie to you not, of the calls and messages and notifications I received for you were with the anger and mistrust that people feel towards you, ranging from the vaccine rollout, the response to women's safety issues, the early support of Clive Palmer's legal actions against WA, the blind support of New South Wales when they didn't go into lockdown early enough and we had that massive COVID outbreak. And while that was happening, it seemed to be that you were dissing WA's strong border safety measures. So to those people, what can you say to turn their anger, mistrust and dissatisfaction about you around? Because it's really quite strong.
Well, look, I'm looking forward to being able to have that opportunity in Western Australia. It's obviously very difficult when we're caught on this side of the country. But just let me pick up a couple of points that you've raised there. First of all, on the court case, we shouldn't have gone into that court case, and that's why I changed the decision. What normally happens in a situation where there's a court case of that nature, the High Court expects the Commonwealth Government to put the position that we put. That's what you normally do, and that's the normal procedure. And that's the procedure that was followed by the Attorney General at the time. But what was clear is that the pandemic was different. And after some discussions between Mark McGowan and I pulled us out. So, we're talking about things that we would have done differently. I would have done that differently.
Okay.
And it wasn't about Clive Palmer or anything. That's just the Labor Party trying to whip that up. That has nothing to do with Clive Palmer. This was just about us showing respect for the High Court and the normal process that you would have followed. But one thing we've learnt through the pandemic is the pandemic often changes the normal rules. And that was quite much earlier on. Now, when it comes to the borders, I've always respected Mark McGowan's views on the borders. And particularly as the pandemic went on, the experience of the pandemic was different in all states and territories. And it was all the same at the start. We're all staring into the same abyss. The JobKeeper was given in Western Australia just like it was in New South Wales, the income support, all of those things. And as time has gone on, the states have had different experiences. And I've always respected that about Western Australia. That's why I respected Western Australia when it came to the GST. I mean, people remember one of the reasons that Western Australia is so well set up with their revenue at the moment to deal with this and get their hospitals ready is I was the one as Treasurer and Prime Minister who actually ensured that GST deal was put in place. And I had to take on the eastern and southern states to do it. And in my own state, to do it, and I advocated the case for Western Australia. So I've got form in standing up for Western Australia.
But it did seem at the time that you were really hardcore against the closing of the borders. In my memory, and what we saw on the news, you were thinking that that was something you didn't agree with at the time. I'm pretty sure
because we were doing the same thing as Tasmania, and you weren't even discussing Tasmania, but yet we're slagging off.
I talked about Tasmania. I talked about South Australia. I talked about Queensland. I talked about many states. And borders was a tricky issue, but I think it was the right call ultimately. How they've been administered has been different in different states and territories, and that's had some really terrible personal impacts on people, which I'm sure many of your listeners would agree with. But pandemics are tough, and you don't get everything right.
Yeah.
And I think Australia. But let's just take it back to first principles, though. What were we trying to do as we faced this terrible pandemic, which was just causing absolute chaos everywhere around the world? And there's no guidebook. We're trying to save lives, and we're trying to save livelihoods. We've saved 40,000 lives because of the response that we've dealt with at both a national level and at a state level. And Western Australia has done really well. We've saved our economy. We have the lowest unemployment rate we've seen for a long time, and particularly for young people, as I said at the start. Our economy is stronger than most advanced economies in the world, and we're going to keep it that way. And we have one of the highest vaccination rates in the world. Yeah, we had some problems at the start. I sent the military in to fix it up. And we said at the start of the year that we hoped that everyone would have the opportunity to get a vaccination by October. That's what we said in January of last year.
Yeah.
Hello?
Their people cut him off.
Hey, we've heard enough. They're like, mate, you said this before.
That wasn't us. And we weren't asking the question. He was speaking, and they cut him off.
All right.
There we go.
And that was the Prime Minister, everybody. Oh, Prime Minister, are you still there?
Prime Minister.
You got cut off.
Oh, wow.
Just hearing
I can't
about...
believe your people cut you off.
I don't know
that
what happened
person,
there.
mate.
Maybe the borders telecommunications line well on the case.
Somebody on the Nullarbor just pulled the plug.
Exactly.
We have to go anyway.
Look, I think you heard the point I was trying to make.
We do.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate
your
your
work
time.
thing, and working with Mark McGowan has been important. And look, at the election this year, whichever way people are going to vote, Mark McGowan's still the Premier on the next day.
Yes.
That's not what this is about. This is a choice about who's going to lead the national government, the federal government, either me or Anthony Albanese. And when it comes to running our economy and keeping Australians safe, and then I think our track record there speaks for itself. But also, my track record for Western Australia speaks for itself. No one has stood up for Western Australia as a Prime Minister more than me, and the GST deal and me sticking to it and legislating as Prime Minister is the proof of that. Others can claim to it. I've done it.
All right. Well,
All right,
thank you
mate.
for
Thanks
your time, Prime
buddy.
Minister.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Nathan, Nat and Sean is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au.